We were doing very well in the ratings, so it was really a slam dunk that we'd be back for a second year.
I had no doubt after the first year that we would go another year, or even a third. We all knew that because of the ratings. You got good ratings, they're going to keep you. If ever a show was designed for color, it was Gilligan's Island.
Seasons 2 and 3 of Gilligan's Island are in color because color was not yet used on TV when we did season 1.
They felt it was too expensive to begin with in the first year, so we were black and white.
I saw it originally, it was in color because I saw it in person. But it improves, particularly because of the background that you arrive at with color in Hawaii. It's beautiful, and it's made more beautiful in color. The big change in the theme song of Gilligan's Island in seasons 2 and 3 was giving Professor and Mary Ann their individual line in the song, because I wrote the lyrics to the song.
How you can have 7 people on an island like that and only name 5 is kind of strange. What are you going to do about the other 2 anyway?
If you have any sense, you learn from your own show and what works and what doesn't work. And I learned a lot. And I realized that as we went through the first year, that the professor and Mary Ann had individual stories and became just as important as the other castaways. So I decided just to make a minor change in the lyrics at the end of the song to give each one his own and her own individual thank you, really.
This movie will show how we got shipwrecked on the island. We'll put the film on a raft, and when people find it, they'll see us stranded here on the island, and they'll send help.
We release it as a feature, we'll all make millions.
It was a freelance show. I didn't have a staff of writers, which is currently the vogue. And that's good in one way, and it's bad in another way. If you have a staff, there's a sameness to the jokes and the scenes and everything. Whereas if you get fresh ideas from freelance writers, you have a tendency, I think, to broaden the show and make it more interesting.
You see, he wants to make friends with you.
I don't like the way he's looking at me.
You have an audience that expects certain things, and you should satisfy those expectations. I think that's what made the show, is the fact that everybody had something else to root for. Each of the characters had his own plot line that week, and somebody to compare with, their own life. One of the things that makes Gilligan's Island an amazing show is the fact that in its own way, it kept up with happenings thanks to their radio. They knew what was going on in the outside world. So we would do stories about astronauts when the astronauts landed. We did stories about cosmonauts. We were able to keep up with the times even though they were arrested in time on their island. That was a great benefit to have the present and the past all in one piece.
The ghost haunted your shirt.
People think about what they would do if they were on an island like that. And everything turns out all right. It gets solved in the half hour, and so at the end, everything is okay.
Gilligan, little buddy, you're too much. Yeah.
Almost no storyline was too far out for Gilligan. People would come in with different ideas, some of them more logical, some of them wild. If anything could happen on Gilligan's Island, it did happen.
What's going on?
In those days, you couldn't show a woman's navel. Dawn Wells, Mary Ann, had a little thing up that came up on her shorts that came up, covered her navel. Couldn't show that. And they were always fighting with Tina Louise about cleavage. Somebody once said to me, you know, if they did Gilligan's Island today, you'd all be in the same tent. Probably right.
I get literally thousands of letters a year. And everybody said that that show could be my kid's babysitter, because we knew for that half hour they'd have a wonderful laughing time and wouldn't be subjected to offensive kind of sexual innuendo. And it had a remarkable across-the-board appeal. Most shows appeal to a segment, but Gilligan is across the board. Everybody looked at it for a different reason. Kids looked at it, I think they identified with Gilligan. And he was always in trouble, and most kids think they're always in trouble. Then teenagers or 20-year-olds looked at those babes, and they were pretty hot babes in their time. And then Mr. and Mrs. Howell had really sharp kind of comedy.
You know, Lovey, my dear, we're going to have a dickens of a time getting that thing down, so do be careful.
It wasn't broad, practical jokes. It was sharp humor that they had. And then there was a lot of pratfalls and things with the skipper and Gilligan.
So everybody, go home, kick off your shoes, turn on the TV and relax.
And that's an order.
The critics who had mercilessly flayed the show when it first came on, then were faced with the fact that this was a major hit.
Oh, they didn't like us at all. We were at the bottom of the barrel. Nobody loved us except the public.
The critics were caught off base, so they kind of let me alone. They never said good things, but at least they didn't browbeat the show in the second or third years.
I mean, you tell me how many other shows are in their 40th year on television and in 36 countries around the world, and will probably be on for another 40 years.
What is that animal? You cut its tail off and it regenerates? Well, that's what happens with Gilligan's Island. Anytime you think it's dead, wait a minute, because it's going to come back.